Dave here. How are you? Today is a wet and cold not wet and cold. It is wet and cold. Let me start that again. Today is wet and cold. It is no chance of getting this show finished. The 26th of July. If that's an indication as to how the rest of the show is going to go, everyone turn off now, go home. Tune into some other station. Okay, what we're going to try and do today is we're going to adjust this drawer because I've come up with a little thing where I want to be able to open these drawers, and I've got the handles are in the front. And when I open the drawer, I don't want to cut my knuckles off. So I'm going to create a recess like I have done with my other one over there. And we're going to go through the process. Now the front of the drawer, I should say, is too high. Now one of the great things about building this, Stephen, thank you very much. You're quick off the bat. That makes me feel better. I'll calm down now. Okay. I'm hoping the stream is coming through fine, even though the presenter is being an idiot. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo these pocket hole screws because I want to take this off and rip it down. I'm going to keep the side that's got the melamine on it, and I'm going to lower this down to 50 millimeters in total. So then when I put the drawer front on, I'm going to create a dip in the front of this on the CNC. I'm going to put the handle holes in this first, and it's a little bit of a tricky thing, but I thought I'm going to show a couple of ways of doing things. Now I don't need to use the CNC for this. I could have used a 30 millimeter Forstner bit and a jigsaw and spent a little bit of time cleaning it up, but I thought, you know, it's over there. It's been a while since I've given it a run. I did have a chat with Avid CNC last week about their machines, and I thought it'd be a nice kind of a follow through for it. So let's get this thing happening. I'll take the pocket hole screws out of this, and then we'll run it over the saw. Now I'm using a new saw blade today. I have not used this one yet, and it was sent over to me as a sample from Amana Tools. So all I'm going to say, and you and I can watch how it works. If it gives a nice, they say it does a really nice job on melamine. We'll have a look. Let me get this thing undone. Hold on. I was starting to undo the back. I am still a little bit rattled. You try doing live and also focusing on the job at the same time. It's another level, believe me. All right, so this is the front. We'll undo this. Out she comes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop them on the floor. Not to worry. Now, I might switch it over to this camera on the side here. You look and see. Oh, Wally, thank you. All right, I'm going to switch it over to this other camera so you can see what I'm doing from the side. Now, the way I built these drawers, you know that I've got screws in the bottom as well. So I'm going to take these 4 screws out. Now on this lot, what I did was I adjusted my jig for doing these, the Craig jig, so that I could use 1 1/4 screws. See, they're a little bit longer than the inch. Obviously, yes, 1/4 inch. And Cole's just made a comment there. See that? How good is that? It's just dropped out. I've still got the top, so I'm going to rip this at 50 millimeters, which still means I've still got the pocket holes there ready to go. And let's do that now. I'm going to switch cameras, if this will let me. And I'm going to move this camera down over there. I did mention Cole is going to start doing a live show as well. He tells me, so we'll see how it goes. He's going to be doing those on Sunday morning, an hour before my show. So if you want to watch Cole doing his masterwork with his dovetail jig, tune in. Now, I'm sure Cole's going to give us all the details when he's ready to go. So let's switch the cameras. That's not looking too bad. And we'll get this part done. I need to slow down a little bit just before I use the saw, because it's a bit dangerous using a large machine like this when you're a little bit kind of rattled. All right, eye muffs on. Now I've set the saw up. I'll release the mag switch. I'm going to use the mag switch. There's the blade. I'll raise it up so you can see it before I start it. That's it. Lower it back down again. I don't want it all that too high. Melamine, I want to come down around about 10 millimeters above so that the exit of the blade isn't pushing straight down. It's at an angle, so it's not going to chip out as much at the back. But we'll see how that goes. As I said, brand new blade, haven't touched it. So I'm interested to see how this goes as well. When you put a feather board on, don't put it up here. It's got to be in front of the blade, this side. If you put it up there, you're going to start jamming things against the blade, you'll start jamming the blade and it's going to burn. Okay, that's nice. I'll lower that down, pull that right out, turn the dust extraction on, tip this up just a touch and check that that's all going well. Yep. All right, here we go. This is the front, so it's my better face. Feels good. I can come around behind. Turn her off. Bloody hell, that's not bad. Look at that. All of that, forget that, that's a bit of black from the pen. That's beautiful. Double side. Nice. All right, turn that off. Thank you. Thank you, Amana, for sending that over. It worked well. All right, back to the main camera. Very impressive. If you put it down like that, you can actually see if there's any gap. Turn around the other way. That's the other side. That's a pretty clean cut. All right, let me have a quick look. The flush trim bit. Just keep watching. Here we go. Good day, morning. Oops. Hi, girls, Joes and Joeys. All right, now I'm going to put this back into the drawer, obviously this way up. And I'm going to clamp it in position again with the big fellows. Morning, Stephen. And let's have a look. Pull it up to about there. So the plan at this stage is to get it, all the bottom screws in first. I had someone come into the store the other week. I'm not going to be there for a few weeks at the moment because, you know, life is busy. I had someone come into the store and say that they used this method for building a drawer. They've never done a drawer before in their life. And it worked. I thought, well, that was lovely. Down just a touch more. All right. I've nearly finished this part. How quick is this? All right, now I'm going to put the screws in there. Got it. Let's go to Carl Cam while he's here. Carl Cam. There we go. A bit easier to see. 1, 2, 3. As I say, 1.25 inches. All I did was adjust the jig a little bit away from its standard parameters, and I could then use 1.25 inches because it kept the drill back up a little bit. So adjust the collar and all sorts of things, and you can get there. Done. The main thing is that it doesn't come through the front when you set it up like that. Okay, now the last one I've got to do is obviously on the front, which is in here. Peter, I don't have a store. I work for a company 1 day a week, or I'm going to probably take the next 6 weeks off while things are a little bit quiet, and hang around up here and have some fun in my shed. I'll switch the cameras back over to this one. Whoop! I can't switch it to that one, David. It's down the end there, isn't it? Shall I bring it up here? Yes, I'll bring it up here now. So it's a store called Carbotech. There's links down the bottom in the description box if you want to get things from them. Your call, whatever you want to do. About there. Why not? Camera 3. There. Now, I've got to put screw in there and screw in there. And they will add a whole lot of strength to what I'm doing. Need to bring that in just a touch. I think I'll put a clamp across there. Give me a sec. If I do it around about the middle, back that off. That's closed up nicely there. This is for the wood lathe. Yes, it is indeed, Matthew. And one of the things I wanted to make comment as I was going along about this thing is, I hope I can reach in there. Undo that. I'll move it because it was fouling where I was getting in there with that. Gotcha. When I was building it, I started using some second-hand stuff, and I thought to myself, yeah, that'll be fine. And I should have really used all new stuff because I'm not going to cut holes in this cart. So I could use this in the house for a bit of kitchen furniture if I wanted to. I just need to get that last one done. This is one of the things where doing this on my own during the week, I didn't have to really kind of worry about timing. So going to pull that in tight again, but possibly down there like that this time. So I have time to think about things. Now, if I don't pull it up too tight, what's going to happen is when I pull the screw in, it's going to pull that back for me. So that's going to work just how I want it to, just as long as I've got it kind of nipped. Yes, Blue Mountains. Gotcha. So that worked well. That's one of the great things about woodworking is it is organic, and you can fudge a bit here and there and it'll let you. Okay, so I have the drawer all done, lower front. This is going to go on there and we're going to do a scallop like that. But before I do, I've got to clean this up. What I did was it was a little bit narrow, so I glued another little laminate across the top that's about 1/2 inch wide. I know where I am because I've written. So that's the top there, and this is 1B and the back of the drawer front. So I know where I'm at always. I'll move the drawer out of the way now so it's ready for us when we get to that stage. Where are we now? Cleaning this up. I've got the dogs. I'll spin that around this way, and I'll put a dog there and a dog there, which lets me do that. Actually, I might even do it that way. Now, I'm going to clean this up with my trying plane, my wooden plane that I built. So I shall switch to there. So I'm going to use this fella. Now, a lot of people will probably say, Dave, whoa, that's almost a jointer. Well, it is, but I'm going to use it across as a skew plane. So it's going to, the heel of the plane, the heel of the sole, is going to ride on the main body part of the front. The blade is going to be skewing that off for me. It'll work. Let's see how we go. Come around this side. Nearly there. Beautiful. That's so nice. Nearly. Just that first part of a cut is always a little bit hard. That's pretty decent. Done. That's cleaned off nicely. Now, that's the back. I'm going to flip her over now so I can work on the front of the drawer. Drawer front, I should say. Back the blade up just a little bit. And how nice is this? You tried the white Tim Tam, did you? And have decided I'll leave. Oh well. To each their own. Beautiful. That's done. See that? Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, it's exactly right, Wayne. I do want to show off my Flash Harry plane. Look at that. Look. Can you see the join? I love it. I'm going to show off another plane in a second, Wayne. All right, pop that down over there. And I've got a list here so I didn't get lost. 1/4 past. Drill the holes with a Craig jig. Okay, so I put a post on the Craig owners group yesterday, I think it was, using this thing. Now this thing is a piece of plastic, but it's a bloody good piece of plastic, I'll tell you that. What happens is that I've set it already to the depth and the width. So the handles that I'm using on this drawer are these things. Now these are, they've got 96mm centers on the holes for the screws to retain to hold them in. And so I set it at on here. There are inch and metric. So if you have a look here, it says 96mm and 96mm there, just above it. I don't know if you can read it or not, but believe me, they're there. So it works imperial and metric. Then it's got a couple of bumpers there. There's a gauge up the back here with little arrows sticking across. Very hard to see it in this situation, but it works well. So I've got it set to there. I will check it against the other drawers. Yep. There's a little indicator on the side as well, just here. So if you've already got drawer handles in a drawer, all you do is just put this beside it, slide it down until it's in the right position and lock it. And away you go. There's a couple of little non-slip fellows here. And I need to find the center of the drawer, because that's what we're going to work off. It's got a little cursor in the middle. I did show people this on the other machine cart that I did. And a tape measure and a pencil are always a good idea. There's a pencil and a tape. Found them. And I'll use a square. Just the combination square will do fine. Now, ordinarily, you do this at the end, but because I'm going to CNC a big chunk out of there, I don't have the reference from the top after it's been done. So I'm going to jump a step, put the holes in for the handle, then I'm going to take it over to the CNC and we'll have some fun. All right, where are we? That's 537. So let's say 538 or 540. Half of 540 is 250 plus 20 is 270. And I've got to come back 1.5 mil from that. So 270 is 268.5. 268.5, and we'll check it the other direction. Oh, here's another tip. If you start a job with one tape, don't go changing. Don't go and get another tape. These things all read differently. I know it's a tape measure and it's supposed to read the same, but start with one tape, finish with one tape. What I also do is on my machines, on the table saw and also on my drop saw over there, the Capex, I set all of my cursors to work the same as this. So they're all adjustable. I can adjust it, a couple of mil one way or the other. I set them all up. So all my measurements are then going to be set to this guy. It really does make a big difference as you're going along. All right, now we're going to put the square line on. And don't do it too hard. It's just a little locating line. I don't know if you can see that. Yep. Okay. I shout out from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. G'day, PDW, whoever you are, Incorporated. Okay, so now we need to put the jig on. And I think I've got a clamp around here somewhere to lock it on. Maybe I don't. What I'll do is I'll set it in here in Stanton bench, which I love to bits. We'll spin the camera around over the front here so you can see what's happening. Okay. There we go. So there's my line down the middle. I don't know if you can actually see that or not. The jig is going to go on there. This way up, of course. And I want to make sure I don't drill through all sorts of things. I'm on the line there, and I will get a clamp. Here it is. So what happened the other day, I took the clamp off because I was filming with one hand, took the clamp off, and the jig fell on the floor. And there's all these comments. I wouldn't lend my tools to you, mate. Oh dear. That's perfect. Got it. But I did explain to them that the floor in here is extremely soft, so it's all good. Takes a 4.5mm drill bit. You extend it out a little bit if you're going through the front and also the front of the drawer. And the jig, of course, all of these take up volume. I've got the depth set correctly. Turn it on to fast. And I'm drilling from the front, not from the back, so that any tear out is going to happen at the back, not on the front. Not that it's going to worry too much because the handle will cover all of that. And there we have the two holes. Next thing I've got to do is I've got to sand this. I wonder if I'm going to sand it now where I'll put it on the CNC. What have I said I'm going to do? Going to go to the CNC. All right. Here we go. I'll switch over the cameras again and move this over here. And you can watch me do the touch off on the CNC if you're curious. About there will do. I'm being very ginger as in careful, gingerly, as I move these cables, because as soon as I disconnect it, I've lost the cable completely on this software. All right, CNC. I'll have a quick read down the side. I love the look of that plane. Oh, it's a beautiful plane. Any little tips that I tell you along the way, if they help you out in your workshop, that's great. I'm glad to do it. John, howdy from Texas. Hello from Georgia, USA. Love the pup. Thanks, Rick. Vegemite is just a colouring agent for the other end of the digestive tract. Yeah. Okay, now I have marked on here the top, so I know when I take it over to the CNC which way to have it. Now the cutter that I'm using is a compression cutter, which means the bottom 1/8 of an inch or 3mm is a spiral up and the rest of it is a spiral down. And what I'm doing is I'm setting the machine up so that, or in the software in Aspire, I set it to do basically a full rectangle and told it to have its start position off the job. So it's going to start out here and then it's going to go back in and do the cut. It's going to do it in 3 passes. I'll show you when it's finished how nice and clean this cutter is. So here we go. Switch cameras. We'll touch it off first. If you're interested. I don't know how many people are watching or anything like that at the moment. I'll tip this camera up ever so slightly. About there. How's that looking? All right. So here's the cutter. I do not have the variable frequency drive turned on at the moment. I do have the machine, the stepper motors for the machine, which move it along the X and the Y axis and the Z axis. That's all activated, but this thing can't spin. So this thing is totally disconnected at the moment. Very important. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp it in position. And one of the other things is, let's just make sure it's down flat. Yes, lovely. Okay, now I was starting to say one of the other things. Let me just get it back in position a little. And we'll use the touch plate. So this thing lets the machine know where this corner is going to be. Okay, so that's the corner I'm working off. So first thing it's going to do is going to come down and touch this, and that's going to tell it the height up and down, the Z axis. Then it's going to travel along the Y axis and touch the edge, and then come back, and then I'm going to rotate the cutter 90 degrees, or 45 degrees I should say. 90 degrees. Yeah, I'm an idiot. And it'll touch that on the X axis. Okay, so now we're going to go auto touch, and I'm going to jump over there, put my hand in front, see it coming down very slow. I've got my hand over here in front of the emergency stop, just in case it doesn't want to stop. Beautiful. Up she goes. It's stopped there and hasn't moved. Why? There she goes. Okay. Okay, now we're going to do the Y-axis, and I've got the cutter in the right direction. So you're going along that direction. So just had a little moment there, didn't it? I'm back. Now I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees so that the cutters, I'll go move that around a little. So the cutter point is going to touch the edge of this first. I don't want it to go in one of the flutes. It's got to be actually on the cutter. Tell it to go, and across she goes. Beautiful. And up. Lovely. Now I do have a list of commands up on the wall that I follow exclusively. So we're going to close this, and now I'm going to load the G code. And I'm loading it from this USB stick just here. It's called 24th of July. That's the one. The code is loaded. You can have a look from here if you want to and see what's happening. I'll tip this up a little bit. So this is where everything's happening. I'm going to change it around to millimeters. So at the moment, the Z-axis is 53.96 millimeters above this board. Pretty accurate. 28 point whatever it is in this direction and this direction to the center of the cutter. I have told it it's a 3/8 cutter. That's where it's going to start from. There's the corner of the board, and this is the shape that's going to cut out, but we're only going to use half of that. All right, now put the dust boot back on, and I'm going to read off what I've got written down there. So down the end, if you can see that, I've loaded the code, I've fit the cutter, got the tool, everything's touched off. The job is secure. Turn on the dust extraction, so this button here turns it on outside. hear it sucking away. I'm going to get my headphones or my eye muffs. And put them on, and I'm going to turn on the variable frequency drive, which is down here. Okay, the variable frequency drive is something that basically turns this into a three-phase machine. It delivers very smooth, clean power to the spindle, which is up here. All right, again, a quick read, and I will get down in front of this as well after I start it. Here we go. Spinning up. There she goes. First pass. Second pass. Last pass coming now. It's jumping up and down to go over the key points. Up it goes and goes back to the corner and says, I've finished. Done. Turn that off. And the variable frequency drive, turn that off. Page up, get her up out of the way. And back out. And we'll stop it there. And have a quick look. I'll bring this in. That's the cut. That is super clean, top and bottom. All right. All right, back to this one. Again, a lot of people say, oh, that's a lot of mucking around to do that little cut. It would have been quicker. Possibly, but if I was doing a heap of these, and some of the stuff I do a lot of repetitive work. That's brilliant. All right, now I'm going to cut the tabs out. Glasses, just there, thanks for telling me. I'll do a quick read. Trying to go with the 500S, you're making barn doors. Exactly right. Front door, go with the 700, definitely. All good. Okay, I'm going to use this guy, Japanese saw to cut it out. Quicker maybe, but that was fun to watch. Thanks, John. So a quick nip. Now I don't have to be extremely accurate with this. That's fine, because the next thing we're going to do, I love Japanese saws. Buy both of them. It rolls off the tongue so easily, doesn't it? I'm going to move this camera down the end there because we've got something else to do. Now to clean the tabs off, I could either use a flush trim bit or the cutter that I'm going to use. And we've got that there, which is a 1/4 inch roundover. I'm moving my dust extractor into position. And again, talk amongst yourselves. I'll switch the camera up here. It's good fun. Let me see. All right, so that's down at my trim router. And eye muffs were out here with the machine. If I can demystify some things as well, it's always nice. All right, down here, this is just a little DeWalt trimmer. See that? That's all it is, that I made a plate for. So it's kind of like a router table. And on the trimmer, I cut the outside housing off the dust extraction port, and my 27mm hose will fit onto it. Down it goes like that. I don't lock it in position. I used to, I used to have screws and everything down here, but I don't, it's not going to go anywhere. I'll plug this in to the dust extractor. Otherwise it's a waste of time having it there. All right, I've already set the depth and I'm going to go conventional cutting, not climb. Start her up. Lovely. We'll do the other side as well. Now the thing is with using a trimmer, don't rush it and don't go slow. If you go slow, you're going to get little burn marks. If you rush it, it's going to be a little bit chippy-outy and all that kind of stuff. Not that that's a real word. All right, next thing we're going to do is sand it. So I'll bring it up here. I'll bring the other guy up. Again, wouldn't it be nice to be able to have dust extractors everywhere and not have to worry about switching over hoses and leads and what have you? But this is okay. This is fine, 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 fine. Bringing him back down here. I emptied the bucket the other day. It was about time. I get amazed at how much goes in there and hence doesn't go to the dust extractor's bag because the bags are expensive. Switch the cameras again. Plug this one in down here. And the sander. I'm using 120 grit paper only. First of all, before I use the machine, I'm going to sand this edge and that edge. And I'm going to, what else do I need to do there? I'm going to sand the edges there as well. I'm not going to sand the back here too much, or kind of at all really. I'll do a little bit at the top either end, but I will sand this part here. Let me see. This way. If I put one of those there, like that, that's good. I've got a dog on the apron at the moment, so it's pushing against the dog at the same time, which works well. This is a bit of 180 paper. Tear it. Diddy M. Bayer. Hi there. What Vine stands for, don't you? 180. Let me see. 180 is fine for this. If you, this cloth paper, if you just pull it backwards and forwards, it follows the contour of everything. Yeah, we were supposed to get this massive downpour of rain, but it's just steady rain. It's not really heavy. I don't know what it's like in other places. Finding the center of the drawer that is 3 and 11/16, hold the rule on the edge and slide it across. Okay. Ian, dust extractor points are like clamps. Never have too many. I've got a system. I have got a system around here, but I just find this is really convenient. And it's nice and quiet. I love it. Maybe slide that along to there. This is going to be the slowest part of the whole job. What was Cole saying the other day? Sanding's the last thing you do, but the first thing everyone looks at. And just along it. That's looking nice. And it is important. I was tempted then to just not do it. Always try and finish with the grain if you can. Look, that's looking pretty good. There's a cup, there's a little burn mark there. I've got to get rid of it. I can't do it. Done. All right, now I'm going to hit it with the sander. I'm going to do the back first, because then I don't want any scratches on the front. Bit of noise. I was working over myself then because the clamp was in the way. Done. Do the front. Got to get rid of that line. And the end. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the block plane. One of the things with a block plane, when you're doing any work with a block plane and you're doing long grain and across the end, always do the long grain first if you're going to chamfer. And that's what I'm going to do right at the moment, is chamfer. All right, so first thing we do is chamfer. I'm going to do 3 passes. And then the other side. Three passes. Now, that chamfer is tiny, 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 but it does make a point. What you do then is you plane from one side, obviously, to the chamfered side, and that's already been eased away from you, so you're not going to actually tear off at the back. When you get to the end of the cut, I always run on a chamfer on the end grain at an angle, so I'm skewing while I'm doing it. So you've watched there. Nothing has gone missing, nothing at all. I've got a round over on this end, so it'll be fine, but I'm still going to skew down right at the end. I'll go to Carl Cam for this one. All right, I'm going to do the backs now. So instead of going straight, I tip the plane at an angle, and then right at the end, I drop it down. See that? finished. No chipping. Just lovely. All right, switch the cameras back to the front. Quarter two, we're doing well. We're doing well. What's the next thing? Sand fit to draw. Okay, so I'm going to get that camera that's down the back. Give me a second. And bring it up to the up to the unit that we're working on. Now this is a post that I put in Facebook and social media about what do we do when we get to the top, because on this particular unit, to give it as much strength as possible, because remember a machine's going on it, I didn't have this area here open. Let me switch the cameras and see if that's going to work any better for you. Okay, so the top of this unit, and I'll go through it, why I've done it. The back is a solid panel, and you saw when I built the carcass, or the box, that I dominoed it everywhere and we let things in. You know, it's a horribly strong construction. It's a method that's very strong. I even went to the extent of here letting this into the top by 2 millimeters and also into the bottom by 2 millimeters. Again, to get as much glue contact and tight fit as possible. So the back is acting as a spine, and this section here is acting as a rib. So the top and the bottom are solid. And now this can't drop down in the middle. It's almost impossible, because to do that, I would have to make this whole top do this, and it can't do it. That's why I didn't do just a 2-inch lip across the front, which is normal practice, and all this open. If all of that was open, I could get in behind with a screwdriver and clamps and clamp the front on to the drawer. But I can't do that. So that's one of the reasons why I've done this. So we'll get the drawer, which we've reduced the height on, and I'm praying that it's going to work. So a slider in. Also with these runners, always if you're fitting runners, bring this ball bearing section all the way to the front, so that when you put the drawer in, it's not traveling along and then trying to find these and starts to tear out ball bearings. Let's swing that around just a little bit more. All right, line her up. And for people that aren't aware, I always allow whatever the distance is here, I take 26 millimeters off it for the drawer. And that allows for a really nice fit. See how it's just going in perfectly? And then you push it in a couple of times, and there she goes. That's all closed. I'm down low. Now I can use these clamps, these little lever clamps, because they're a very thin profile here, and this area here to put the drawer front on. So I'll get the drawer front. Well, there you go. You can't like on the TV anymore. That's amazing. Now I'm going to use a couple of $2 coins, which is what I've used for all the spacing for the rest of the unit. So I'll put one there, and I'll put one over here. And this gap here, I'm thinking it's going to be about the same. Now this is my back, because it's still got writing on it. I know where the top is now. We were a bit cheeky and we put the handles in first, or put the holes for the handles there. I can drop that on there, move it along ever so slightly. The gap's the same there. What do you think? That's looking pretty nice so far. Put the clamp in on the side like so. And then come around to the other side with the clamp there. So it'd be impossible for me to use the big K-body clamps in there. Just impossible. But I can do it this way. That's nice. It can sneak over just a little bit. I want to go that way just a touch. A lot of people wouldn't do that. They'd say, no, that's fine. That's better. All right, now that I've got that done, I just pull the drawer open. And I can now put the screws in the back when I find the correct drill bit that I was using for that. There it is. This is another bit that Amana sent over to me. This is they say it's a non-marking surface, aluminium. It's got a drill and also a countersink. You can adjust the depth of either part, and it works pretty well. Set it to full. I'm going to put 3 screws in this one. Come around this side so you can see. And one in the center. Now, you'll notice there was a little mark there. You just rub it. Gone. Cool. All right, crack screws. I'll put one in the center to start. I use these because they're a great self-tapper. That's all there is to it. And the last one, I'm going to bring this over a little closer there. Take that one off. You can use countersink Phillips heads if you wanted to, or that's got him. Got it. Or posi drives, whatever you like. All right, bring them around this side. That's nice. And the last thing to do is put the handle on, which I don't know if I'm going to do, but I'm going to oil it next before I do the handle. So to do that, to take these out on the side, when I pull it out to here, can you see just here? Possibly not. I'm going to tip the camera over so you can see. Just there is a little lever thing. Now, if you lift that up, it disengages. It's on both sides, and one goes up, the other one goes down, and then you can pull it straight out and get my money back. So I've already cheated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put blue tape on this drawer, and I might reuse this one. But so there's all the belts for the Pro Edge, and in this one, all the tools for the Pro Edge. And I've put this non-slip stuff in, and I've used double-sided tape around these outside so the non-slip stuff doesn't go anywhere. But look at that. You like that? Alrighty, I'm going to switch the cameras back to here. All right, let me have a look. Yeah. Perfectionist, yes. What about using the handle holes and self-tappers to hold the drawer front instead of clamps? No, doesn't hold it strong enough for me, I found, Peter. I could do, but this works well. You put the drawer on the front after. There's the front on the drawer after. Don't ever put it in before. This, it's just not going to work. You've got to fit them. Otherwise, you're going to end up with strife. Nothing surer. So the last thing we're going to do is put the oil on. I'll just tip that rubbish out. It's come up nicely. I like it. Oil is the next thing, but I'm going to put the tape on there. So I'm going to steal it off this one and see if I can reuse it. I could, of course, leave the front right off. And, you know, I did on one of them. That's fine. The oil isn't going to stain. It really isn't. It comes off really easily when it's off the melamine and the plastic edge tape. If you get to it before it dries. Okay, Carl. Human saliva, the universal solvent. That's what. Hanky, did anyone else, did their mother spit on a hanky and just, as a kid, you know, happened to me all the time. Oil, and then we're going to put it back in there just for the looks, and then I'm going to put the top on, and I'm going to put the lathe on it. So stick with me. It's only 5 minutes. It won't take long. All right. Using the same oil. Now this time what I've done is I've sanded these to 120. You saw that. This is going to give me a matte to satin finish. I went to 4000 on the top over there to give me a super gloss. The higher the grade of paper, like you get way up there into the 800 to the thousands, you're closing everything up, and it gives you a super duper glossy surface. If I go to 120 or 180, I'm going to get a matte satin. If I go to around 300, 320, maybe 500, I'm going to get a really satin starting to go gloss. And also with this one, I don't pour it on the drawer. It's just straight onto the unit. This is going to get 2 coats. And it's crucial you sand the end grain. It really is. Don't be tempted, the saw's done a really nice cut, and just leave it, because it's going to be rubbish. Spin it around. What do you reckon? Polish before I put it on? Yeah, I could do that. Or I can do it this way. The last thing is the front. Oh, thanks, Matt. Now, we didn't go out last week. We got takeaway. I'll show you. So now we've got a new family member. And let me see if I've got the picture here. Eat in thanks. Here we go. There you go. So she wanted to join in. Not Vicky, of course. The dog has amazingly become part of the family very quickly. All right. Last polishing before entering church. All right. Got to do this, the front here. I'm doing it with a mop. Basically what I've created here is a mop, this rag, and it just comes up so nicely. All right, that's it. I haven't put the handle on yet. I've got this part I can reach in to get to it. So I'll pop it back in here, switch the cameras again. Camera 3. What type of oil? It's Liberon finishing oil is what I use. Now, on the next project that I'm doing, the big one, that won't be happening on the show, but it's a big project I'm doing for a video. Similar kind of theme. I'll be using Whittle's wax. There she goes. Beautiful. Now, doesn't that look nice? Come around to the front and spin it around. All right. Move these things out of the way, and then we'll put the top on, and you can see why I've done those recesses. I had a woodworking group up here, Blue Mountains and Penrith woodworking group, and one of them caught their finger when they opened the drawer up on my CNC machines, what would you call it, cabinet that I built for it, for the computer and everything to live in. Now, that's just roughly fitting it at the moment. So it's 20 millimeters around at the back and 20 millimeters at the front. I'll raise this up a little higher so you can see what I'm talking about. Like so. Now, this is a handle, and so is this, for moving the cart around when I screw it on. If I've got my hand in there and open the drawer, I'm not going to cut my fingers off. This recess is designed specifically to give me clearance. That's on both sides. So I've got my high gloss finish there. Let's put the lathe on it, see what it looks like. Where is it? Alrighty. These things are a fair weight, as anyone would know. That's why it's going on a cart, so I can wheel it around. And someone also asked me about the weight that this would take. And I advised them if they're going to use something, a big heavy lathe, to build the cabinet out of plywood. But, you know, someone else made comment, Dave, I think that melamine will take the weight easy. And if it's built the right way, it will take it easy. So that's my height. Remember I said the other day, that's a comfortable height. Spin this around over here. And up higher, you can see down the side of the lathe. That's on the rest. I'm not up here, I'm down, perfect height. That's in line with the center. That's a bowl gouge and a skew chisel. That's also a nice height there. Just lovely. All right, and then the Pro Edge is going to go here. This might be the next project that we do. I don't want to put the Pro Edge hard on that. I've got some tricks that you might be interested in looking at. So that's yet to happen. But I think that's going to be lovely. Let's see if it wheels around, obviously. Yes, very easy. It's going to live over there. Oh, that looks beautiful. I love it. Tip that down a little. And we're starting to get a bit of a theme here. That one and the one for the CNC. And the drawer we just did. When I put the handle on there, someone also said to me, why don't you just leave that as the handle? Well, the problem is putting your hand in underneath. I don't like getting my hand caught under there. If it was a handle on the underside or finger pulls, yeah, not a problem. I just found this is going to be a whole lot easier. And we've had discussion on whether soft close or ordinary. I like the soft close. They're beautiful. Alrighty, I think that's about it. Let me have a look up here. Back to Muggins again. I'll put the handle on this afternoon. I might even do that. I've got to give it a second coat, probably around about, what's it, 12 o'clock now, midday. I'm going to leave that for 5 hours, that coat. I'll put a second coat on, making sure, of course, that I put this outside. And for the person who was asking me, that's the stuff that I use. And as I said, I'll use the whittle wax on the other project that I'm doing. Let me have a quick read. They are all locking casters. Yes, Dave. I'm going to take the back ones off and put ordinary rotating casters, not locking casters on the back. The reason being, when it's turned around, I'm getting pushed back to the wall, the locks actually hang out way past the back of the caster so you can get your foot on it. But it's going to collide with the baseboard, or we call it in Australia the skirting board, in the workshop over there. And it's going to make the thing sit out proud. So I'm already allowing 20 millimeters overhang on the top so it can go up against the wall. So I don't want to kind of make it good one way and then stuff myself up the other way. Let me have a look down here. You like it? And I guess you want me to make one for you too. Let me see. I don't know why Denise, yep, it's not Denise. Anyway, good idea not to have knuckle dusters. Exactly right. Nathan, where did you buy the runners from? My patrons have got a link in Patreon. I put a link there for them. They cost about $120 delivered for a set of 10. So there's 8 in that unit there. So I've got 2 sets left over for 2 more drawers for something else. You like it, Peter? Matt, thanks for the excellent job. Yes, and thanks for the dollars. We're not going to be going out and doing the stimulus at the moment. We're going to still go and buy takeaway from restaurants that do take away, or that ordinarily would have just been eat in. So there's a cafe in the local shopping centre that doesn't have people inside it anymore. They used to have people in, but now they do takeaway only. So I'm going to help those people out this week. And I did possibly tread on a few people's toes last week. I wasn't aware. By going to Starbucks, I wasn't aware that, that would upset people. I'm sorry, I was just not aware. I was going to go to a local Thai restaurant, but by the time my granddaughter and I got to the Thai restaurant, it was 2:20 and they said, no, we're shut for lunch. Can't help you. I said, okay, fine. So we just found the closest place. But even saying that, they might be multimillionaires, but, if the business is dead, well, there's a lot of people that are relying on that business to still be there as well, like the employees. Let me see. Gouges never let to roll around and chip the edge. Thank you for that, Russell. You don't like them rolling around the drawer. I am going to make an insert in that drawer for all the chisels to live in. Is that going to be all right? You want 3, Peter? Denise is her name. All right. I thought she was calling me Denise. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. So this is what happens when I'm doing the show and I'm not reading so many of the comments. Thanks for another show, Dave. The amount of work you invested. Thank you. Thanks for everything, Dave. Thanks, John. Hit the thumbs up. Yes. Ian, great show, Dave. Thank you for the effort. Thank you. PM soon about a dinner sometime over the next week or so. Thanks, Peter. Do they have traveling brackets? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. All right. So again, thank you everyone that's supporting me through Patreon and giving me thumbs up, subscribing to the channel. And that's about all I can say. Come down to here, intro into the text, look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and I shall see you next week. Bye.